Hello, and welcome to our continuing series of Better Business interviews. Better businesses are those that are driven by purpose to use business as a force for good, for positive change, for people and planet. Throughout this series, we are chatting with key people in these organisations and finding out why they do what they do.
Today I've been joined by Ed Bird from Bird Eyewear. Bird Eyewear make beautiful design-led eyewear using high quality and sustainable materials, including FSC certified wood, bio-based acetate and repurposed aerospace aluminium. Ed Bird is the eldest of three brothers, and we'll talk about that in a minute, from Devon in the UK, who founded the company in 2018. And has had a vision, had to get a pun in, to drive change in the eyewear industry and help families in Africa in the process. Welcome to the show, Ed.
Hi, Russell. Thanks. Great intro. Nice to be here.
Thank you very much. So I'd like to ask an elephant in the room question, and this one is very important to us all, I'm sure. Jam or cream on your scone first?
Well, I think for me, it comes down to how viscose it is. You know, I mean, if the cream is runnier than the jam, then put that on. You know.
Oh right, so you're interchangeable. You're not true Devonshire.
No, it's all about what works best.
I like that's a great political answer. I like that, and nobody can disagree with you. For those that don't understand, Devon and Cornwall seem to be permanently locked in does the jam or cream come first? Devon tends to go cream first, jam second, and Cornwall jam first, cream second, and many lives have been lost on the internet over this. So
yeah,
you've managed to avoid that particular pit.
I have, thankfully.
Yeah. So you formed a business with your brothers. You must get on pretty well.
Yes, we do. Yeah. So I'm actually the middle child because we have an older sister and an older brother as well. So there's five of us siblings, and we're all very close as a family. You know, grown up, you know, playing and working on things together. But myself and my two younger brothers, Lawrence and Paul, we've always been interested in similar things. You know, we're all kind of skateboarders and surfers and so on, and we've grown up working together, problem solving, so yeah. And I think even, you know, once we got into our teens and then into our 20s, and we all started working full time, we've always got on really well, and we've always been discussing, you know, ideas that we wanted to start together. And I think that stems from right back when we were very young. You know, we were building dens together or playing games together. And now, when, you know, in our 20s and now in our 30s, we're still kind of approaching life in much the same way. You know, just seeing how we can work together and how we can have fun doing it.
And presumably a set of complementary skills to boot. Absolutely,
yeah. I mean, all of my brothers, they're all graphic designers in one form or another, which is a really useful skill. I took a slightly different route, and first ended up becoming a chef, and then made a U-turn into education. So
And that education, was that with the education charity Extra Ice, was that?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I was the director of an education charity for, getting on a decade.
Yeah.
That was running various projects in primary and secondary schools across the southwest UK.
So quite a leap to move from charity director to innovator and creator of eyewear.
Absolutely.
What inspired that?
So, I mean, to cut a long story short, so for a long time, I've been involved in something called TEDx Exeter,
Yes.
And for those of you that are familiar with TED Talks, it's kind of a branch off of that.
Right.
And, I've been involved as part of the core team running events in Exeter for many years. And as part of that, I've had the opportunity to meet with and work with and watch, so many kind of inspirational people developing ideas and trying to change the world. And alongside that, since I was very small, I've always been a drummer, and always
To your
been.
mother's delight, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Yeah, so I've always been a drummer, and so I've always been interested in kind of how things work. I've got a fascination with classic cars, and just like how
Yeah.
things work, how things are put together, how can you make them better and improve them, and so that kind of love and desire twinned with getting to work with all these inspirational people that are changing the world in different ways. I just began to look for new opportunities to learn new skills or to create something new. And so I was originally working on an idea, a product idea for drummers, and I was learning how to CAD design and working with wood and sustainable materials, and working with my brothers on that idea as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that project reached a fairly natural conclusion, and we decided not to go any further. But we carried all the learnings from that and spotted an opportunity in the eyewear industry. And so we just thought, there's a big opportunity here to create some really great eyewear products that look good, that do good, that are made well, that make a difference. Yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
Very recent history, admittedly, because you've been quite a successful journey, but we'll get onto that in a bit. So I'm kind of interested is, many people, I know many people who study stuff in university don't end up doing what they do in real life is what they learned. But to go, eyewear seems to be a specialism. Is it? You obviously got the optometry or the optic mechanics, which presumably is that somebody else you've passed that off to.
Yes.
So yours was purely how can you get a better material design, and a better perhaps circularity into the eyewear. Is that it?
Absolutely, yeah. So it was first and foremost about the design of the frames, the material used to make them, the kind of the longevity or the end of life or the circularity of that, and how we could make that better. And yeah, and I guess from there it was fairly easy to put sun lenses in, and we started off as predominantly a sunglasses brand.
Got you.
But then very quickly we were inundated with people asking, can we put prescription lenses in this? So we then kind of opened up that side of the business. We connected with a glazing house in Cardiff, and so we now kind of run two sides of the business alongside each other.
Okay, and is the kind of, I wondered this, is the making of a sunglasses frame different from the making of a prescription eyewear frame? Is it different? Is there some other mechanics required to change the frame styles?
Well,
or frame use, sorry.
yeah, so it's an interesting question, because traditionally, yes, there has been a difference where you would tend to find that sunglass frames would be off the shelf, they'd be ready-made, there'd be a completely solid frame, whereas for prescription eyewear, you would quite often get openings, so you'd be able to open the frame or loosen it a bit to be able to get the lens inside. But because of the glazing technology has come on so well, our frames are exactly the same for both. And even when we're using wooden frames, for example, that can't be heat treated and expanded to pop a lens in, so the lenses have to be very finely kind of tuned to be able to get them in just with a cold kind of push fit.
Click.
Yeah, that clicks them in. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. And I kind of also, whilst we were there, because I noticed on your site there were kind of three headings. One was the sunglasses, one was the prescription, and then it was blue light lenses, blue light blocking lenses. Yeah, you don't want blue light lenses.
Yes.
What's that all about?
Yes, that's something that's it's kind of been emerging over the last, let's say 10 years, when they were first kind of starting to emerge, but really in the last 5 years it's grown much bigger. And it's really as the result of people using their screens a lot more. And we're using smartphones, and we tend to be using them as soon as we get up to as soon as we go to bed.
Yeah.
People will, it's often the first thing they do. They wake up in the morning, they're looking at their phone, then they're on the computer all day, then they're on their phone in the evening, right up till it's very dark. And that was causing quite a lot of eye fatigue in that from the screens. And so it's the basic idea behind the blue light blocking thing. It basically filters out the very kind of high energy blue and blue violet light waves, which tend to be the more higher energy light waves compared to the reds and greens, for example. And so it's essentially just something that people can wear. It just kind of puts a dampener on that, so that if you're looking at a bright screen all day, it's just kind of stopping that. And very much in the same way, because I mean, blue light is found just in natural light as well. And
Yes.
you get a lot more blue light from the sun than you do from your screen, for example. But it's for that reason that when you're outside and it's a sunny day, people will wear sunglasses, and that has a similar kind of effects, stopping those those high energy waves. So yeah, and I mean, we know that people have different opinions on them, but some people swear by them and love them and wear them all the time. Other people, think that it's maybe a bit faddy and so on. And certainly screen technology has been developing, so the energy is slightly less intense than it was 10 years ago.
Yes.
But yeah, so we have it as an option for the people that want to take it up, and if it helps them, then that's fantastic for us.
Yeah. One of I suppose the situation has become worse, especially as people tend to look at their iPads or their Samsung tablets or their whatever it is. I shouldn't brand myself to death there, but late at night, last thing before they close their eyes and try to go to sleep. So yeah, this it's probably been raised its ugly head a little bit more visibly, hasn't it? I suppose, with the prevalence of so much technology dotted around.
Yeah.
Going back to your frames, now we mentioned in your intro that you formed in 2018. 2019 you started trading. By 2019 you'd got one frame of the year. That must have been an amazing achievement for a brand spanking new frames developer. How did that feel? How did that go down?
Yes. There's something called the Optician Awards.
Yeah.
And they've been running a long time. And it's a chance to, very much like fashion awards, it's a chance to kind of celebrate great brands, great designs.
Yeah.
And usually all of the big players that you see on the high street, they're always there. And so as designers and as a brand, the Frame of the Year award was really like the kind of the ultimate that you could achieve. And so yeah, we submitted our kind of application to enter, and we were shortlisted, and that in itself was mind-blowing, because they had a lot of entrants, and they're judged by by 4 judges, and they've got all these frames, and so they all have to agree, and they score the frames, and then they choose, I think, 7 to be shortlisted.
Okay.
So, and we were up against a frame from Specsavers and Cutler and Gross and LA Eyeworks, really huge, well-established brands.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a frame. It was called our Black Cap frame, which is one of our wooden and aluminium frames, and it's got a 2-tone color combo, much like a black-capped bird in the wild.
Okay.
Similar kind of shape as well. And yeah, so it was quite an experience for us. So the awards were in the Hilton Hotel, and we rock up to the Hilton, and we felt very out of place, as a couple of Devon boys. We drive up in our van. We were late, had to get changed in the van, into our tuxedos, walk into this big award ceremony, and of course, we just feel like we're really out of place with the new kids on the block. And but yeah, we won the award, which was just an absolutely huge.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we were hugely proud of that.
Yeah, and quite rightly so. And yeah, I mean, you shortlisted again in 2020, and of course, I presume you've got fairly high hopes this year. It's at the end of the year, isn't it?
I think so. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they pushed it off to December. So, are you going to go for it again?
I think we might.
Or shouldn't I ask?
I think we might. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
What makes your frame so special? And what makes them? Why would you call them a sustainable frame? That's probably the better question.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, the sustainability comes from just trying to work with better, more sustainable materials. We put a lot of thought into the materials and where they're sourced from, the kind of materials that we're using. So, instead of using injection molded plastic, for example, which is ubiquitous across the eyewear industry. Obviously, very cheap, very easy to use.
Yeah.
But comes at a cost to the environment. So we use it's a bioacetate, which is like a cellulose based material.
So, plant-based or?
Yes, yeah. So,
right, okay.
Either from wood or from cotton.
Right.
But the difference, I mean, cellulose materials kind of go back years and years, but the difference now is that they can make it without using any oil-based plasticizers. So that effectively makes the frame almost entirely made of organic material, and so it can biodegrade, which is really good. And then we use aluminium as well, which can be recycled, and then woods, which are FSC certified. And so, for example, our bamboo or beechwood frames, they can be shredded, chopped up, and just thrown in the compost, which is a lovely way to kind of dispose of a frame, rather than having something that can't be recycled.
And off it goes to landfill or an incinerator.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you also got the frames. You've thought about that. I've seen some brilliant stuff about packaging. What's your approach to packaging as well? Because that's always how you get it to somebody unbroken is a big thing.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is always challenging. So we use recycled card for our boxes. We call them our nest boxes, because the cases are kind of nicely tucked in there like a little egg in a nest. But then obviously there's that thing about once they're in the box, what do you kind of put them in? So if it's raining and they get left outside by the delivery driver, that it can protect them, or if they're going further afield, perhaps into Europe, or what's going to keep them safe. So we've been working with a company in the UK to develop a new type of mailer bag that it dissolves very quickly in hot water, and then in any kind of water-based environment, it will essentially dissolve into carbon and carbon dioxide. So it's a very kind of green material. I couldn't tell you, I can't quite remember now all the kind of sciencey names for the molecules, but it's essentially a step on from, if you've seen the tablets that you put inside a dishwasher, and the tablets that you sometimes get, they're sometimes in like a plastic film.
Okay. Yeah, individually wrapped, they appear.
Yeah, it will seem like a plastic film, though it's not plastic, and that just dissolves into generally like water and carbon dioxide. And so it's basically the next step on from that, making it so it's a bit more robust, You know, we put a little sealing strip on there. So yeah, so that's our new mailer bags, and we have tried using paper-based mailer bags as well, which are great in some instances, but you
Yep.
know, potentially if they're going longer haul, they often get ripped or damaged and can
Yes.
suffer, you know, water damage in short term, which in the UK, where it's raining quite regularly, can be an issue.
No, we live in a tourism area. Remember, remember, it's always sunny down in Devon and Cornwall.
Absolutely.
It's when you have to send it up to cities, that's probably where it's the big problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. I love the video. It was a lovely little shot of a bag going into a a jug of hot water, presumably, and then
Yes.
you know, turning into nothing, and presumably no toxins in there whatsoever, which is
Yeah.
partially the problem. Is these plastics tend to carry so much with them, even the biodegradable ones. So that's great. And I saw even some attention to your cleaning cloths.
Yes, our cleaning cloths are made of recycled bottles. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so a recycled PET material, which yeah, again is great. It's just you know, for us, we really think about every aspect of our product and its life and its kind of circularity, and how can we make it better. So you know, rather than making the traditional nylon cleaning cloth, can we make them out of something more innovative, something more interesting? And
Yep.
it makes for a great story as well. You know, people love to talk about the product because it's got so many interesting features.
Yeah, agreed. It does appeal, and you know, in my mind, I didn't see the Bird range as a premium cost. So people aren't paying a hefty premium for the sustainability. They're paying good, fair price glasses, as they probably would anywhere else. So you're obviously certified of being a B Corp, and you did that just as the just as the pandemic hit. So perhaps, why did you go to become a? Why did you look to become a B Corp?
For us, it was always something that we wanted to achieve, right back to, you know, when we very first had the initial idea, and that's really because of the kind of brands that we follow and that we're interested in. Brands like Patagonia,
Yeah,
or in the UK, brands like Finisterre, for example. So these are the kind of brands that they're actively trying to make a difference and
yeah,
trying to innovate and use more sustainable materials. So for us, we knew that that was kind of a benchmark that we wanted to hit. I mean, more than anything, to prove to ourselves that we could do it. But it's a really good way for us to show to other people that as a business, we are a force for good in more ways than one.
yeah, brilliant. And that kind of brings me on to, as many B Corps have, is realizing that they could use their profits for other things as well. Now you've got a campaign called Share Your Sun partnership with SolarAid. Can you, what's that all about?
So this was something that, again, right back when we started as a sunglasses brand, we knew that we wanted to develop a brand and a business that didn't just create great products, but that also made a difference in some way.
Yeah.
And I'd known about SolarAid and the work that they did. And so for me, that connection of, you know, sunshine, sunglasses, and solar, it was a really good fit. So
Yeah,
I pitched the idea to SolarAid. They loved the idea, and we kind of very quickly built a partnership. And that just means that for every pair of frames that we sell, it's helping to distribute solar light into their projects across Africa, where it's needed. You know, so that in across kind of sub-Saharan Africa, there's, you know, something like nearly 600 million people that don't have electricity.
No.
So and when the sun goes down in, you know, Central Africa, it's really black. It's just, you know, it's just pitch black, and people are burning things to create light in their homes, you know, so whether that's petrol or paraffin or wax or, you know, whatever they can get their hands on this stuff. It's dirty, it's dangerous, it causes fires, and they have to pay for it as well. So what Solar do is they work with communities and they kind of educate them on the benefits of solar and renewable energies and how they can use it, and they kind of the local people then invest in some of this kind of solar technology and fit it in their houses. And then, of course, they're saving money because they no longer have to buy petrol or paraffin.
Yep.
They get their health benefits. You know, it's free energy. They run really good repair services as well, like for when any of these solar lights break. And it's just a really good way for us to make a difference. Our mother was born in Uganda and spent much of her life there, and we've all got kind of various connections in Africa. So again, it's just a way for us to create something that makes a difference.
Yeah, and of course, sub-Saharan Africa also has one of the biggest problems with fires. So the last thing you want is them having to burn stuff which could potentially make that situation even worse. I think some of the worst fires in 2020 were sub-Saharan. They weren't around Sydney and they weren't around Los Angeles. They were just the reported ones.
Yes.
Massive fires running across the Central Africa. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
So, and that's a brilliant move, and I think, you know, like many other B Corps, are seeing a need, filling a need, sort of thing. But I love the time with the solar, the solar aspect to it. So that's great. So I think you've mentioned this. You mentioned to me a tip that if there's one thing that somebody could do, what would you say they should do? Do you think?
My kind of go-to tip is always the next thing that breaks on you, see if you can fix it. So whether that's your toaster that breaks, or whether that's the zip on your jacket, or perhaps something else, perhaps you've got a pair of welly boots that have split, or something like that, like whatever it is, big or small, or no matter that, whether it's tech or no tech, see if you can repair it. And I've always found that in itself becomes a really interesting journey, because it makes you think about, firstly, how it's made, where it's made, where the components come from, how easy is it to fix, what's its circularity and kind of end of life meant to be. Does it have planned obsolescence, which many people have heard about. And then, usually you can fix something. So usually you'll be able to find, an electrician shop in your town or city who can fix your toaster. And so you're supporting a local business. You're giving second life to your toaster, where otherwise would have gone, into the down to the tip or something like that. And so just all of those elements are just really, really good. And even if you discover that in actual fact you can't recycle it, or you can't fix it, or you can't mend it, that in itself is a really good learning experience, and will hopefully just have some kind of impact on you.
I think if you were changed your buying decisions, you had to look harder at whether the next product is self-repairable, whether it is a manual enough for you to be able to crack it open, accepting warranties, but the warranties usually would have them fixed for free, so that's still good. I suppose the other thing that's come across and is becoming more prevalent nowadays is because companies have realized that it's cheaper for them to just send out a new product to somebody that's got a warranty issue than actually recover it, fault find it, fix it, and send it back. And so you end up with a warranty environment that could end up being more wasteful as well. And that's a bit of a worrying development, really. Oh, well, I got this widget, it's broken, you keep that one as a gift, I think. And we'll send you another one through the post. And okay, thanks very much, that's great, the resolve is done. You might rave about the company, but you now have one broken piece of kit you got you got nothing to do. You can do with. So I think that's a great thought is, and I think people shy away from repairing things because sometimes repairs can be a little bit expensive. You think, well, I might as well buy a new one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the learning experience and the learning opportunity, that's often worth it. And sometimes you can make it a fun experience. You can document it on your Instagram stories or something like that. Make it
nice. I mean, yeah, there's a plethora of repair videos, aren't there, on YouTube and other places.
Yeah.
On different things, so you can learn stuff. Yeah, so that's great. I like that. That's brilliant. If we were going to encourage our listeners to look at something you enjoy doing, reading or watching a TV program, or what would you recommend they go do?
Yeah, I'm not much of a reader. I do like reading, but I always find that I'm lacking in time. But I do love listening to podcasts because that's something that I can do while I'm at work, or while I'm driving, or while I'm trying to fix something.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of podcasts that I listen to, a couple of kind of go-to ones. So the first is the Tim Ferriss show. He interviews just a plethora of incredible people, from Hollywood actors to politicians to athletes. And it's all about kind of picking apart their habits and routines and discovering kind of, what has driven them and what has made them who they are. So that's one. I've learned so much from that.
Yeah.
Another would be, there's one called Think Like a CEO. A guy called Gary Keller, who's based in the States, and he's actually he's a real estate guy, but again, just great solid advice about running a company, about how to think about how to kind of think about business and how to think about finance. I mean, so even if you're not a company CEO, or even if you don't work in a company, it's still a great podcast just to develop leadership skills and things like that. And so yeah, definitely a couple of good ones there.
Yeah, and of course, there's always the opportunity for you. If you are working in a business, you might want to start your own at some point. It is an exciting journey, as I'm sure you would contest to.
Yes, most definitely is.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and I'll be listening to having a go at Tim Ferriss myself and seeing what he's got to offer us. He's done quite a few. He's going 5 in the 500 episodes, so there's plenty to pick from there. So just to close our show off then, I have a few statements which could be a fact or a fake. Are you up for this?
Yes, sounds interesting.
Okay, so I'll give you a statement. It might be a fact, it might be a fake. And you have to pick. So the first one, nice and short, the first vision aid was invented around 1000 AD. Is that a fact or a fake?
I think that might be a fact. I know that, I'm not sure on the dates, but I know that, going back a long time, people, particularly, Inuits in cold countries, they used to use bone and carve very thin slits in the bone, to stop the glare of the sun.
Funny enough, I saw that. I almost did a fact or fake on it, and I thought, no, he's probably seen that. Well, you are right. It is a fact. It was called a reading stone. It was a small glass sphere that was placed on top of small letters so they could be seen. So, 1000 AD, quite impressive. Dark Ages.
Absolutely.
So, number 2 then. The world record for the most expensive pair of sunglasses ever sold is set at over £150,000. Is that a fact or a fake?
Wow. Well, I mean, that's well beyond our pricing structure. I think when I see what things like pieces of art are sold for these days, in the absolute millions, I guess it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
If it's true.
So you think it's a fact?
I think it could be a fact. Yeah.
Well, you'd be wrong. Yeah, but you'd be wrong for the wrong reason. It was £270,000, not 150.
Wow.
They were Chopard Dorigo glasses made with 60 grams of 24 karat gold and 51 individual cut 4 carat river diamonds. That's 200 carats of diamonds. Anything similar in your range?
Nothing quite that exquisite, I'm afraid. No, sounds.
I wouldn't. Funnily enough, I wouldn't deem them particular. Oh, I suppose they're supremely recyclable. You can melt down the gold and and reuse the diamonds in convenient jewellery. I don't know if I could want to wear them on my face. That was
No, it's a bit too bling for me, but I'm definitely going to look them up.
Okay, so it's one each. So this is the decider. And it is almost 2 million pairs of sunglasses are dumped in landfill each year in the US alone.
I would think that's probably true. I think, yeah. Or at least, some huge figure like that.
So, hey, that's a bit vague. Fact or fake?
Sorry, no, yeah, I will say, yeah, fact or maybe even more.
Oh, so okay. It's not. It is a fake, but the fake is it's 4 million sunglasses are dumped each year in US alone.
Yeah, it's crazy, unbelievable.
I mean, to be honest, I think that's a very rough estimate. At 4 million, it's. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a lot more because they're a very commodity item, aren't they? Or some people you can go into the shops and buy yourself a set of sunglasses for a tenner in a chemist and wear them for a holiday and then sit on them and break them and then they're in the bin. I mean, I don't know how they guessed 4 million. It's presumably on the new sales.
Could be, yes, yeah, but I mean that's staggering, and that's something that really needs to change, and that's kind of part of what inspires us to create the eyewear that we do, and things like our recycle program, where people, if they do break them or have any issues, they can send them back for repair, or they can send them back for recycling, and we give them a 50% off code for their new frame as well.
Okay, so you actually enable the recycling, repair, circular economy piece.
Yeah. So frames that we can fix, we fix, and we work with a local kind of fixing company.
Mm-hmm.
Those, or otherwise the rest can be kind of recycled and reused.
Well, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much. I mean, I'll take that as a rough draw, but internally I'm going to consider that a win on my part.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll let you have it.
Only leaves me to thank you very much for joining us on the Green Elephant Show, Ed. Thank you.
That's fine. You're very welcome. Great to chat.
We really hope that you found this insight into another Better Business both informative and entertaining. So make sure you don't miss any of our other chats with other Better Businesses by subscribing to our podcast, available on all good providers, or on the Green Elephant YouTube channel. And please don't forget to spread the word with others. If you have any questions, comments or suggestions on the show, please do get in touch. You can email us studio@greenelephant.show or visit our website greenelephant.show or find us across social @greenelipod. Join us next time and we hope you have a sustainable week.